Maisie here from Devils United, and here I've got Tony and I've got Stephen. How are you both?
Yeah, cool, mate. Cool.
Doing well, Maisie.
So, deadline day. Tony, what are you making of the final day of deadline day?
Yeah, it's all right. Not much happened in the last bit of it, but it's quite interesting, early morning and whatever through the afternoon. But I mean, obviously, it's the ones we all knew were happening, Ronaldo and all that, obviously, and which I'm sure you're made up about with him coming back. And there's another one, Reece. I bet he's made up with Ronaldo as well. So,
definitely.
Yeah, and Arsenal did sign one player who we really don't even fucking know what his name, who the hell he is, but Japanese international apparently, a good player, 22-year-old. So who knows? It was all right.
Yeah. I've got Reece here as well. Hey Reece, how are you?
I'm alright, thanks. How's it going?
I'm not too bad, thanks. What are you thinking about deadline day today? Any standout transfers or?
Not a lot really. I think there's been a couple of smart signings. I think Palace getting Odsonne Edouard for me.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Fantastic because it puts Celtic in the mud. But it gives Palace a decent chance of actually getting some goals. Try to look around. I think Griezmann back to Atletico Madrid, loan option to buy is a great one for them. But then they've replaced Griezmann with Luuk de Jong, so it just shows how bad Barcelona are.
Yeah,
you should Arsenal, look.
De Jong's pissed. I actually rate your signing. I actually rate Tomiyasu because I've watched him play. I've watched him play. He's actually a decent young player. He's not going to be. He's not going to be immediate, but the one thing is he's an upgrade over that fucking model that's just gone to Real Betis. By the way, loan with no options. You're going to get him back for 1 year. You've wasted it. You've basically just. I'll say this now: Arsenal have actually lost that deal. Even though you've got rid of Bellerin for a year, you've actually lost the deal because he's coming straight back with 1 year in his contract. And I'll go on a limb. Bellerin goes to Betis, has a season of his life in a league that suits him. He comes back and gets a new 5-year deal at Arsenal.
You
got that.
Well, so I've got you, Stephen. What are you thinking of the deadline day today?
Well, like I said, I've been trying to have an I don't know much about his Tomiyasu, so
he is a decent young player. I'll give you that. He is a decent young player.
That's what I said. I mean, I was trying to like Luca trying to say because he's had one game and he's seen him over one game, he's shit. And I'm like, well, you can't judge him over one game. What are you, Arteta? So look, I mean, but I don't know him, so I'm not gonna make a judgment, and I'm gonna give every player at least a chance. They deserve that, and it's not their problem if they're signing to Arsenal. It's down to the board and Arteta. Don't forget, it's Arteta that have wanted these players in the end. We've not got Aouar because he's 23 and not 22. Otherwise, he would have matched our candidate and we would have gone for him, which just shows how shambolic things are at Arsenal. So I'm not going to say, but other deals, Edouard, that's like, again, that's another kick in the teeth for Arsenal because we were looking into try and buy him. With Griezmann was a bit of a shot to me. What are PSG doing? Where, like, knowing that Mbappe could be going on a free next year, and they turned down 200 million euros. I think they've always got more money than sense.
It would have been the second most expensive transfer in history. It would have been Mbappe's second overall.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the only thing that would, for me, say to me on that is they think they can get another contract out of Mbappe. That's the only thing that comes to mind for me. I don't think they'll do, and I don't think they won't, but that's the only thing that can tell me for that.
Just watching January.
You remember, but I did a PSG gossip column a week or two ago, and I actually asked that question as well. Is Mbappe going to stay as a PSG player? Because there was rumours all going about PSG about PSG wanting to keep Mbappe, but Mbappe wanting to go away because I think it's about his ego, because Messi is going to be like the bigger player at PSG, and he doesn't like that because he wants to be the star man. That's why he wants to go to Real Madrid. You don't know why he wants to go to Real Madrid. You don't know whether it is his ego. You don't know whether it's because he actually wants to challenge himself elsewhere. You really don't know, but I wouldn't call La Liga much of a challenge.
From what I know about Mbappe is he was growing up, he only supported two teams. He supported PSG because obviously he's, we all know he's French, but he also has, I think it's Algerian descent as well. I think it's Algerian, which is common in France. Like obviously Zidane's the same, Pogba's the same, and all that. It's Algerian and France. They have those connections, but he's a big Real Madrid fan. He's a big Real Madrid fan, and it's because of like Zidane and all that. He values Real Madrid, just like most people do. Excuse me. He values Real Madrid as many would call it to be the ultimate stepping stone. Like it is the ultimate. Like Ronaldo said it once, even though he went from the biggest club in football, he went to the biggest club in Spain. He said it is the ultimate stepping stone for him as a football player, and you can't argue with that. Like Real Madrid, in terms of when you think of Real Madrid, you think of the European Cup and the 13 they've won. They're massive, and it just shows how effective they are as a team. It's because that rich vein history. In terms of world football, you're only going to go to 4 or 5 clubs. Barcelona, Barcelona for the history, but at the moment, shite. But in terms of football, for historical clubs, it's Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Juventus or AC Milan, and Man United. Even though they're in a bit of dire straits at the moment, it's their history, and you want to be there. And Mbappe sees them as almost stepping stone. And PSG, like they must find money grows on trees, but it's the biggest financial loss in football because they would have made, I think, £31 million profit on Mbappe. And now they've just went and lost 189 million quid. They've lost it because he's going to go. He will agree that pre-contract in January. He's going to get an absolute monster contract because Ancelotti and Perez will happily wait now. They'll happily wait.
It was a stupid move.
The also thing I think with Mbappe is that I feel with Mbappe is that as much as I think it's more because of the Real Madrid thing rather than the ego, because if it was the ego, he would have left already because you had Neymar in there, you had already big names already there at PSG before you had the likes of Messi. I mean, there was all these argument about who's better, Mbappe or Neymar. Now, no one's going to question who's better than Messi. Messi is the best player in that team. Like for me, that's a fact. So for me, it's more the fact that he wants to go to Real Madrid, and that's the only thing that makes sense to me. So but that's the only. And now the fact that you've been offered 200 million euros and you don't take it. That was like when I can't remember. I can't remember how much we. I can't remember. There was obviously some deal we had and we lost it all because of we decided to keep it on for too long, and it's sort of the same thing. I think it was like we were going to sell. I think it was going to sell Alexis Sanchez. I remember for about 78 mil, right? And then we let him go for a swap deal in the end because we stayed him on too long. But this is on another scale. This is on a massive scale. It's ludicrous.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go through some comments here just because I've got a couple. Breaking Arsenal, getting back bench stuff. Okay.
Benchner's actually more accurate.
Big up to Jason. Thanks for tuning in. Big up Talk. Absolute legend. Little Bucko, big up. Sorry I called you a Liverpool fan on the last stream, but we've had our words and we've got it sorted.
I'm surprised he forgave you for that.
He does forgive me.
She's got previous of false accusations.
We all know you're a Burnley fan, though. Get over it.
Shut up, Burnley.
Even Burnley signed a player today, didn't they? That was a miracle.
We'll call him a Burnley fan, so there we are.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Jason, talk, you're a legend, mate. Yes, he is a
He is,
legend.
he is.
You've got that
Yeah.
right, Jason. There.
Please stop playing like a Burnley fan.
Hi,
then you don't
Queen.
have to do it.
I hope you're
How the-
okay.
How
Thanks
the
for coming in.
fuck play like Burnley?
Because you do play like Burnley.
What are you lot? What are you lot smoking? What are you lot smoking?
I'm only kidding.
No,
Reece.
no,
You
no,
don't
it's too
play
late
like
now.
Burnley.
No, it's too late.
I'm
No,
only
it's too
kidding.
late. It's
I'm
no,
only
no, it's,
kidding. You play like
don't
Stoke.
accept it, mate. Look.
no, we're not having this. We're not having this. It's clear bullying, mate. It's clear bullying. Like this is.
Big,
She's got
big
your
up,
number, mate.
Michael.
So it is.
Thank you for tuning in. Box said, looks like Haaland and Rice next summer. Yep, that's potentially could happen, but we just have to see how it goes.
I see just one signing
And
next
we
year.
have got Talk in the house. Talk, how are
Hey,
you?
here he is.
Yeah,
The man himself.
How you doing?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
well, how are you?
you're right, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Son. I'm kind of like sort of maybe false hope that we might just get Neves.
Well, there's still 47 minutes and like 50 odd seconds, so we'll find out.
That'll be the quickest transfer in history. that
Stop
will.
being hopeful, Reece. You're going to get me hopes up.
But the thing for me, the worst thing that's happened is Sol going to Chelsea for 5 million. I mean,
On a loan, isn't it? A
5 mil
deal.
loan deal. 5 mil loan deal.
makes no sense. Surely we could have been all over that.
I know.
Don't get it.
It's absolutely crazy. It's an absolute steal. When I put on for social media, people's like, well, Sol's not a CDM, he's a CM. He can play as a CDM. I'd rather have he would be our best option as a CDM if he came to Man United.
He doesn't even need to be a defensive midfielder. He can just sit in front of the midfield.
Yeah.
Flat as it wants to be. He doesn't have to be a defensive midfielder. He can just do defensive duties. Doesn't have to be a defensive midfielder, just as long as he knows how to pass a fucking ball.
Yeah, 5 million is much better option than Fred and McTominay. So even for
And speaking
anyone,
of
isn't
speaking of Sol, we've got a Chelsea fan in the house, Ankit. Big up to you, Ankit. Please don't rub it in about Sol. I'm not very happy at the moment.
Ankit, since it's nearly 3 o'clock where you are, can you just do a cheeky deal like yourself and United and just give us Jorginho on a free?
yeah. Yeah.
See, I told you, little Bucko forgives me for calling him a Liverpool fan. I told you he forgives me.
Yeah.
For now.
What
don't think
knows what
Reece
he's
will.
talking about as well. Look at this, Reece. Look at this comment.
I only have one thing to say, right? And it goes like this.
Goals non-existent. Hello, Ginger. Hope you're well. Thank you for tuning in. Jason has said, I'd ship Fred off. He is so rubbish. He probably won't fit there.
As you said, shit, mate.
I'm keeping it PG. I'm keeping it PG. This kid's awake.
It's after it's past the threshold on 9 p.m. So you're
It's a 6-week holiday. Boxer said Chelsea has failed to get them signings, so yeah. And big up as well to Jordan. I sent you the link, Jordan, so if you do want to come on. Yeah, so talk. How are you feeling? What has been a good transfer for you for transfer deadline day?
Well, definitely the Sol one to Chelsea has been that's a real bargain for them going for this season. In terms of the Man United, I think, has it been our best ever transfer window? I think it's kind of it's hard. Well, do you know what? The only window I can see. Well, I say window, but it's the Cantona. You look at what Cantona brought to us. It was, massive. It was massive. So I think for me, it's floating around between them two. It's the Cantona and this window.
I think there's just 4. I think in terms of just totally great transfer windows, there's 4. There's a Cantona one, 92. There's Jaap Stam and Dwight York in 98.
Yeah.
And in fact, to be fair, 06-07 was another great one. And then lastly, this year, Bruno maybe in January, but other than that, this is probably the great. So maybe 4 or 5.
What about Vidic?
Vidic and Evra is probably the best January window. That's better than the Bruno one, to be honest, because from what it's led to so far, it's still ahead. But Bruno's transformed this club. But Vidic and Evra's the best January sign so far, unless Bruno goes and wins like a quadruple in his first season. Well, this season anyway.
Big players there, legends, weren't Yeah.
I've got Jordan here. Hi, Jordan. How are you?
Oh, Jordan.
Yo, Jordan.
I'm good. I'm good. You know.
Good. What have you thought about deadline day?
Oh my gosh, my club is in the mud.
Liverpool didn't sign no one, did they?
No.
Well, at least they've got
Still in
some
the club.
contract extensions. Like they've got Allison on another couple of years. They've got
Henderson.
Henderson on a couple of
Oh,
years
Henderson,
as well.
yeah.
At least we know you've got some more players guaranteed, but you've just not got that depth, haven't you?
All they've got is Kanati signed in. That's it.
Nah,
They'll be in the same position if they have loads of injuries this season as well. It'll just stop them from being title contenders.
Well, they let go Kabak. The thing is what the guy they signed in January, Kabak, to help with their issues, they've now sold. They now got rid of him.
No, they didn't even sell him. They just loaned him in.
Well, they loaned him out. So what happens if you have another injury crisis and you need him again? They can't call him back.
The thing
He's
is,
waiting.
is they've got the Africa Cup of Nations coming up, so Mane's going to be disappearing. Firmino's injured.
Yeah.
No striker.
oh my god, yeah,
It's all going to be
They're
that.
gonna be.
That's why they're keeping Origi.
Really is an emergency, isn't it?
That's why when I looked at Award, I was thinking, why aren't other clubs like Liverpool going for that? Knowing that Mane is going to have to go out for the Africa combinations. The ball would have been perfect. Why didn't he go for him?
Or Danny Ings.
Or Danny
Just him.
Ings. Or Danny Ings. You're telling me Liverpool wouldn't have been able to got Danny Ings or Edouard from Crystal Palace or over Crystal Palace or Aston Villa? Nah, they would have got them easily. So it's I don't know what a
They
Liverpool.
lost out on
are doing.
Basuma again. That's an embarrassing thing. Is they lost out on getting Basuma in. Like they need to make their mind up. Do they want him or not? Because he seems to be the constant target for Liverpool fans, but they never make it. They don't make any concrete effort to sign him.
Yep.
I think his best moments when he said Arteta told him they'll go win the Champions League in 3 years.
My
Well,
favourite
well,
moment is when he actually teared his contract up.
My favourite moment when he boarded the plane this morning and left.
But to be fair though, use are right mugs because look at the amount of money you had to spend to get rid of him. That's the best. That's the best part.
What I loved in his statement. He said in his statement, "Oh, if people saying I went for the money, right here, me taking a pay cut is to say that it wasn't that fact." And I went, "Yeah. So why did you come out in the paper and said you do want to be at us in the first? You want to be at Chelsea? If you don't want to be at us, you shouldn't have signed the contract." So because it's 200 grand a week and 3 years on the line, you were like, yeah, I'll have some of that. Thinking that if we actually turned up and did something, right, you would have stayed. Do you think if we actually weren't as bad as we were, he would have stayed at the club? Of course he would have. So he would have nicked 200 grand a week either way. So he was doing it for the money. I'm
It's
not
just pure
believing that.
gold watching Arsenal and
the summit came through, by the way. About
Mate, I
Spuds.
know my club's in the
Sorry,
mud.
mate.
It's done. It's finished. I've already.
Emerson Royale, what a signing for them.
Yeah, about Spuds, they're going to terminate Aurier's contract at Spurs.
It says it. I've got to spend the next 2 weeks with Spurs at the top and me at the bottom.
You're used to that. You're used to that anyway.
I wanted to ask you, Tony, just because obviously Brentford being newly promoted, how are you finding their transfer window this season? Has there been any standout players for you for Brentford signing?
Well, I mean, obviously they're not exactly well known, but I mean they all seem pretty decent. What we bought, I mean, obviously a lot of them are the Danish ones that our manager loves to bring through. He being Danish anyway.
Got a few Danish players, but you can't lie, they're a really good squad, Brentford, and they're showing that they are actually capable of the Premier League, and they've actually adapted to it better than what they thought. Like they got the 3 points off Arsenal, and they still picked up a point on their other two games. Palace and who did they play?
And Villa.
Villa, that was it. Yeah. So they've picked up 5 points overall in 3 games for a newly promoted team. That's not even that bad, to be honest.
Scored 3 and only conceded 1, still unbeaten.
Exactly, you've got a really good defence. Ethan Pinnock is one who stands out for me as a really good defender for Brentford.
He always has been, though. He's always been a great player. So
the ones they've brought in for
Christoph Ayer.
Brentford.
Yeah, he's good.
Sorry, so I'm trying to get this right. Yeah, Brentford. Celtic,
Bissau as well. Yes, Bissau.
Christopher Ajer from Celtic for 30.5 mil. Mark Cucurella for Getafe is 15.4 million as well. So, well, no. Well, hang on.
He's Brighton, wasn't he?
He went to Brighton. He went to Brighton.
Yeah. No, he went to Brighton.
Yeah.
So,
Come on, get it right, Mr. Feely. Come on, what's wrong with you, man?
It's what is. I was reading it off here, and obviously they've got that wrong, Sky. I don't know why they've done that, but they've got Ajer. I know that. So.
They've got a young player, haven't they, Tony? He's from Nigeria.
Yeah. I can't even remember his name, to be honest, but I know who you're on about.
But he actually has looked good, hasn't he, from when he has played?
Yeah. It's not Visser. No. I'm just trying to think of the one you're on about. I do know him. It's all right, but I do know my players, believe it or not.
I've got the picture of him in his head. Tom, what have you thought about Man United's transfer window this season?
Yeah, I think it's been a blinder. There's no doubt about that. I mean, just look at what Varane's going to bring to the party at the back there. You know, he's already boosted David De Gea's performance, which I said he would do because, you know, as a goalkeeper like David De Gea, you don't just lose, you know, what you've got. You don't lose it. It's all about a mood and confidence thing. And Rafael Varane has obviously boosted David De Gea somewhat wrong. And then Jadon Sancho, we're going to see a lot more to come from that kid, no doubt about it. He's going to bring a lot to the table as well. And Ronaldo, I mean, you know, we it's just now for me. It's Ollie has done what I said Frank Lampard did. Ollie's brought himself a bit of a puzzle, and I just hope for his sake that he can put it all together. Because if he doesn't, he's going to find himself very, very quickly in a very bad place if he doesn't figure it out and figure it. You know, I mean, Reece, I wanted to ask you because we were talking the other day. I think on the watch along, did we mention a 4-4-2 possibility of that option of a diamond?
I think there is an option. Like I look at what we've got. That's the worst ringtone I've ever heard.
Sorry, mate. That's my one. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, mate. I just thought it was terrible.
Tony's just messing up his birds now.
I can't really talk about my own ringtone. My ringtone's legendary.
It's got a Sean Dice ringtone
on you. This is your fault.
It goes, your phone's ringing.
No comment. I look at
that was his text from his fellow supporter Turf Morehouse TV.
Yeah, if I had any interest in following a club, I've already said this before. Man United weren't a football team. The only English club I'd actually probably support is Southampton because I like the way they play football, and that's a fact.
That's exactly who we're on, by the way. Yeah, that's exactly who we're on about, wasn't it, Tony?
Onyeka.
Yeah,
Onyeka. But in terms of that question, 4-4-2, we don't necessarily have to play a diamond. Like I mentioned that as a diamond, which could work, where you could play Bruno in the attacking role. You could play maybe Matic or McTominay and to be fair, in the defensive midfield role, because it's the only options you're going to get. And then you could play Van de Beek and Pogba beside each other.
Yeah.
In the 8 roles, but to be fair, you could also do a classic 4-4-2 itself, flat, and you could play Sancho and Rashford once he's fully fit on the wings. You could possibly get away with Pogba and Bruno as your actual midfield pairing. You probably could get away with it, and then you could play 2 up top with Ronaldo as your undisputed number 9, and then you've got either Greenwood or Cavani. You could also get away with playing Bruno technically as what he is, which is a Terry Sheringham type player. You could play him as a centre forward behind Ronaldo, and you could have Van de Beek and Pogba, or Van de Beek, McTominay. You could have Pogba and McTominay together. There's so many options, but if we can just get that midfield balance right, I don't care what system we play. We just need that. We just need that system where we get the right balance, we get the best of our attacking players, and then the midfield's comfortable enough where we don't have the defence to start panicking.
Is it basically any combination without Fred?
Fred's a squad player. He's not a starter for me. As much as I like Fred, he's not a starter. He's a squad player. He has games where he's useful. He has games where he actually is useful. Like teams that presses against us, like the even better teams, more technically are better against us. He suits those games. But if it's where we're actually dominating possession or we're expected to dominate the game, he isn't entirely great. But the one thing
I agree with that. I agree completely.
I know a lot of people don't rate him, and honest to God, I completely understand that because each to their own. Everybody knows I don't rate Dan James. He's just went to Leeds. But I will give Dan James one credit of respect in terms of he puts in a shift, he puts in a work rate, and he plays for himself. And Fred's the exact same. Fred is the exact same thing, except he has got the tools that we need, and that's just football. That's the nature of the game.
Well, we've got,
and that's my opinion on Fred. It's always my opinion on Fred.
And what are you thinking of our window, Reese?
In all respect,
we've got 35 minutes left at the window, by the way.
That's right. Yeah. In all honesty, what I think of I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Personally, I'm going to give it an 8. Not quite perfect because I would have given it a 10 if we had maybe moved out one more player, and got a midfielder in. But considering the fact that we've got another goalkeeper, in terms of Tom Heaton, where it's a reliable option, which allowed the young players to go out on loan and mature elsewhere. It's a reliable league option to compete with Henderson and De Gea to keep them on their toes, which is actually a good bit of business. Varane shores up our defence easily, so that's that covered. Ronaldo's the ultimate serial winner. He's hands down the best player in world football. Gets us goals, gives us a winning mentality, gives us leadership, exceptional skills there. That's good. And Sancho, he isn't like. Thing is, like, Sancho isn't world class, but he's on the cusp of it. Sancho is on the cusp of being a world class talent. He is an exceptional player, but he's not world class yet. But that's not a negative on him. That's actually a good thing because it shows he can become world class at Man United, exactly the same way Ronaldo is. You bought him in as a top prospect where he had a good season. Well, in Ronaldo's sense, he had a good season at Sporting, where he went through every single academy level within a year. He's the only Sporting player to ever do that. Went through every single youth level up to first team within a year. Sancho's had a couple of great seasons at Dortmund. He's proved his versatility in attacking positions. He's came in. He's making us a lot better. And as Talk said perfectly, and I completely agree, Sancho is a big money deal, but now Ronaldo's came in. He takes that pressure off him. He can just work on his own game, and Ronaldo will get him to the next level within a year. He'll get him to that next level. And same with Greenwood, Rashford when he returns, even Amad Diallo when he comes back from injury. He's not gone on loan. He hasn't gone on loan. He's stayed because of his injury, but he's going to benefit. So I'm actually looking at it and I'm thinking 8 out of 10 is great, and I think we can achieve something. I think there's going to be some people that are going to say, "Oh, it's always still your manager. You're not going to win anything." I think we will win something. I don't know what it is going to be, but I wouldn't write Man United off now. Even without that defensive midfielder, I wouldn't write us off personally.
No, well, I mean, I want to say that really the option now, I think realistically, with Scotty Mac being injured, for Ollie to keep the continuity going within the team, it's going to obviously be Fred. We've got to accept that. It's going to be Fred. There's no two ways about it because he's not going to trust Donny. That's clear. He's not going to trust Donny in that position. He's not going to have the bravery to throw young Galbraith or Garner in there. He's not going to do that, which I wish he would. I wish he would. I'd
Me
love to
too.
see him
I
just
would love Gardner.
Sorry, Gardner. Either one of them two. I'd love to see him throw either one of them two in and go, right, listen, this is your time now. This is your moment. Can you do it? Because Galbraith for me.
You were mentioning about Galbraith.
Galbraith for me. I think you watch him in that 6 role. He's mustard, absolutely mustard. I don't see why he would. It might take him like a first half of a game to really feel his way into a game and get rid of that nervousness. But I think if you give a player the chance to do that, I think he could do that. And you've got Fred there as a backup.
Exactly.
Take the chance. Take a chance with him because he must be. You keep him at the club. You're giving him a new deal. He must be shining. He must be ticking all the boxes. So, I want to see. But like I say, even if it does come to that, it's going to have to be Fred. I just hope that now what we've got enough in our attacking and creativity ends of the field, then we can dominate games.
Yeah,
Possession in most games, I think we're going to have. It's just about then can we actually get through and get the goals that we need.
I think the one thing. Sorry, to cut you off there, mate. I was just thinking, when I look at Fred, I think of Antonio Rudiger as an example, where Rudiger isn't exceptionally brilliant as a centre back in a back four, but you put him in a back three and you ask him to do one specific thing to do. Like you give him that one role for 90 minutes, he does it exceptionally well.
Yeah.
If you put Fred in a similar system, well, not a back three, don't put him in defence. But what I'm saying is, if you put him in a similar sort of situation where you're going, right, this is all I want you to do for that one game and stick, it'll actually work. I think his problem is in that game we saw it where he was unlucky that the ball got smashed off him in the first 7 minutes. That clearly knocked him. The ball got smashed off his knee. That dogged him. But throughout the game, it's just like his head's dropping. He doesn't seem into it. He's overthinking his challenges. He's rushing. If he's just asked to keep it simple, don't overthink things. Don't rush into it. Just keep yourself nice and composed. He would be a good asset to this team. I don't know why he's not being coached to just do the simple thing. If he's coached to do something simple, Fred would actually be an asset, not a detriment.
Yeah, think about it this way as well. We've got exactly what you're saying there. Think about it this way: the team as well now around him, they have to look at it and go, you know what? Listen, okay, if you're going to put Fred in that position as be the out ball and the protector against the back two, then the other players in the team, the ones who've got the legs to get back to drop people when you see might be a problem occurring, to get back and give him options. That then means that Fred doesn't have to start wandering and drifting off into ridiculous positions where he can get caught out. You need to keep that number 6 role. You need to keep them in that space by showing for them if they've received the ball. You can say, look, you don't need to start carrying that ball forward. Just give it to me. I'm showing for you. Give me the ball.
Exactly.
And I think if Ollie can somehow make that work, maybe we might just, we might just get a scrape through him. But like I say as well, also with the fact that it's now the attacking threat, because listen, one thing's for sure, doesn't matter who you are, you're now going to see a Manchester United lineup with Cristiano Ronaldo on that team sheet, right, as the striker. You're going to be like, oh shit, you're going to have to alter what you're doing for that. You really are.
I think you'll see something in terms of mentality. I think you'll see a change.
Yeah, I just want to. By the way, I had a look at Fabrizio again in the last 3 minutes. He's just said the paperwork between Tomiyasu, Arsenal and Bologna have all been signed and completed. So now Tomiyasu is now an Arsenal player. Plus, I just actually mentioned this earlier. I actually mentioned this earlier to you, Maisie, on DMs actually. Is that if, say, obviously you're not getting a DM now. Say if you got to January and you're 6 points off the top, say like that, and you're second place, right? And you're well in this title race. If you got a DM in January, would you say you could win the title with that? You could go on and win a title. So for me, it's more. Would you say it's more about making sure you're in that title race till January to give you a shelf for a chance of getting a DM to further cement your title chance? Because for me, it's like at the minute, everyone's thinking that it'll just fall short of that target without that DM. So I'm thinking whether if you just have to wait till January to then try and go and push further after that. So,
but listen, like I said, you have to look at our attacking threat now. Teams are going to have to make a decision now. What do we do?
Yeah.
Do we risk? Are we happy to take a risk here? In pushing out, knowing that you've got Cristiano Ronaldo floating about, and maybe however Ollie sets it up, you've got Cristiano Ronaldo floating about there. It's whoa, So listen, if teams now decide that they're going to park the bus on us, right? Okay, fine. Then there's a way that we're going to have to find a way through. We're going to have to, whether it's if we play the dinking it around the tiki-taka around the box and win free kicks. Obviously, Cristiano's the one. I don't want to see Fred, like he always does, stepping over free kicks when it's like, no, Fred, You ain't touching this ball, mate. Go away.
That's the thing, talk. That's the thing, talk. Because like you mentioned, it's like when you say you got Cristiano Ronaldo up front. So when you say it, it's, even if you say it, it's just like you just say the name on the team sheet to the opposition. They're like, shit.
Yeah.
What do we do here? Like I mean, to teams, it's gonna be scary. Like to just hear the name on the team sheet. Oh God, we've got Cristiano Ronaldo up front today. Oh God.
It won't just be any
like
Ronaldo as well. It's not just any Cristiano Ronaldo. This isn't the 24-year-old game breaker that left 12 years ago. This is a 36-year-old serial ultimate winner.
Yeah.
The best
Yeah.
the best big game player in football history. There's no one in a big game better than Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And I don't care
100%.
I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Lionel Messi. Like with all due respect to him, Lionel Messi is probably the best technical player I've ever seen. I will say that, and I will stand by it. Messi's probably the best technical player I've ever seen. Maybe Zidane beside it, because he was an absolute, and Ronaldinho, but they're exceptional. But in terms of just sheer big game mentality, where can you fault Ronaldo? Because like literally, even when he got injured in a European Championship final, he is still on the touchline coaching his country to beating the favourites on home soil.
Yeah.
That for me screams the fact that this guy will not settle for anything less than 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 800%. He will not settle for anything less than that. And if you don't match his standards, he won't be an Ollie. With all due respect to Ollie, Ollie's a brilliant guy. With all due respect to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it will not be in the changing room.
Be more tough.
It won't be on the changing room. If Ronaldo's got an issue with a player in terms of on the pitch, if they don't do anything, he will be in their face on the pitch. He will not give you a time of day. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing how players react to that. Because if you're not up to his level, you're fucked. Because it's the exact same as Bruno Fernandes. Like Bruno Fernandes is like that ceiling of a player, right? His work rate, professionalism, what he stands for this team. He raises that bar. If you're not at his level of work rate, like if you're not at that level, then he ain't going to give you the time of day. But he will motivate you. Ronaldo will motivate you to the level where you've got to soar even higher. If you don't match it, he will not let you forget it. He will not let you forget it.
And it's like, and that's the thing. That's why I'm saying, I'm just like, I am like, that's for me. That's why I'm sort of praying with the situation that is now, that by the 30th of November, Arteta's gone, right? Because could you imagine the way we are right now, and you could imagine putting Cristiano Ronaldo in your front three?
You're getting beat 9-0, mate.
Yeah, we're getting destroyed. We are getting destroyed worse.
If you think what Jack Grealish, Gabriel Jesus, and Ferran Torres did to you, just wait till Ronaldo gets City at 1-on-1.
Instead of the 3% at one point we had, we're gonna have 0% possession. Yeah. Like, it's simple.
But you'll have some possession, taking the ball out your net, but that's about it. Like the only way Arsenal beat Man United is if they do exactly what happened last season: keep as tight as possible, capitalize on one mistake. Unfortunately, it was Paul Pogba who came out and said he's not a tackler. At least he's actually honest about that. He's not a tackler. He made a mistake. He gave away a stupid penalty. That's the only way Arsenal will actually beat Man United in the league, home or away. If you get a stupid chance or we don't turn up, and it's highly unlikely we don't turn up for a big game. We turn up, sometimes we just don't fucking score.
100%.
You'll turn up though because you've got Ronaldo though. That's the thing.
Well, we will be expected to one way or another. The only thing that annoys me, and because obviously it came out from the Mirror, and the Mirror actually released it, but it is a fact. Ronaldo's second debut won't be on TV because it wasn't Sky and BT.
It's on at 3 o'clock, and 3 o'clocks don't ever get shown on the telly. So
they couldn't pick up in time. Sky Sports and Sky Sports and BT.
They might change the time.
They could, but Sky Sports and BT came out confirmed because it was done before the season started, before the Ronaldo thing actually happened. There's no way they can actually accommodate the television. So because to be fair, it's an unexpected situation. Nobody saw Ronaldo coming back to Man United. Because it happened so late, it will not be shown. But it's all right. I'll be watching it on a stream. Sue me.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah, so I'll go through some of the comments. Boxer said Griezmann to Atletico, 40 million. Barca paid 140 million for him 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they have saved a lot of money. Jason, Varane and Ronaldo, best for me, both back together, plus Ronaldo to retire at his club he loves. It's time to win something now and bring back the glory days. You know what, right, especially now Ronaldo has come to United, it's just kind of got rid of the excitement of Varane. And I really love Varane as a player, and I don't think people are like registering about Varane either now. I feel like Varane is honestly a really good centre back, and I'm still even excited for Varane. And knowing that I caught up on the game because I was obviously away. I caught up on the game, and I was literally watching it, and I thought he's actually done not as bad as like you'd think he would do for the first game.
I just had a thought. Just picture this for a moment. Cristiano Ronaldo, when he retires, becoming the manager of Manchester United.
No,
he'll probably already be the manager once he steps on the pitch anyway.
Well, what's he going to do once he's finished his playing? What's he going to do?
I think he'll probably go, to be fair, he'll probably do something with his fashion stuff and his nutrition. Nutrition, because he's so heavily involved. I think he'll still be involved in football in terms of like watching it. I don't think he'll want to be a manager. I don't think he would like that. I think his nutrition stuff and the fashion stuff he works in, I think that'll be his main ventures in coaching his son.
I'll tell you why I think that. Just simply because like what we've been talking about and lauding him for is his winning mentality. When you're a winner, like Alex Ferguson, you're a winner. You crave winning. So once he's finished playing football, he's going to want to fill that void by winning. He still wants to win. And if he's going to do it anywhere, he's going to do it at Manchester United. He gets that opportunity, and who better? It's just a thought. Maybe maybe in the future we'll be having a conversation saying, "Wow, do you remember that?" When we talked about that on Maze's channel in 2021.
I'll always be remembered, won't I talk?
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Never forget you, man.
Never forget my wap and garlic bread, is that it?
just read that momentarily.
Boxer said Liverpool has gave an extension to Reece Williams and to Henderson. Why don't we just name all the players, because they probably extended the majority of the people, haven't they? Little Bucko has said Everton are close to signing. Okay, bit random. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Rondon. It's a good. To be fair, it's a good move. It's actually ahead of West Ham as well. West Ham wanted him, which makes more sense. But the fact that Everton have got him is actually good. Gives him a little bit of depth.
I agree with Box. That is a good signing for Arsenal, isn't it? Yeah.
What's his name, Maisie?
I'm not pronouncing it. I'm not making my look daft.
Tommy
I don't see Everton doing anything though. Do you? Do you really see Everton like doing anything? I don't see it. I think Everton needs to change. Listen, they've changed that. It's like we were talking about Brentford earlier. The question with like Brentford is if they do well this season, in the close season, and during this season actually, can they make the slow progression in their mentality? The whole club, not just this is where teams go wrong. It's not just the manager and the team. That team that you've got there, right there and there. The whole club has to change its outlook and mentality. 100%. The whole philosophy has to change into becoming, something better than what's got you to where you are. It's that constant progression. Look at Man United. That's what Alex Ferguson did. We went from a club where, you had players who were like going out after the game drinking booze, fagging it up, to us leading the football world in terms of our fitness regimes, the dietary, everything. That was all down to Fergie. So it's a constant. You're always wanting to improve every single year, And this is where teams like Everton are they able to do that? Because now they've got Benitez. Yeah. If they make the mistake of just going, all right, it's all right, we're Everton, we won stuff years ago, and now it's all right, we've got Rafa Benitez now, like they did with Ancelotti. Ancelotti, that was the most ridiculous signing, and I said it at the time. I said, what are they thinking? Are you crazy? Do you really believe for 1 minute this is going to work? No, it ain't, and it didn't. And the same.
I think the annoying thing is, Ancelotti would have worked if they had actually backed him properly. I don't think they did. But you look at, I think Benitez actually, because it's this because it's that style of club, and he embeds himself into, like, the fact he stays in Liverpool says all. Like, he embeds himself into a city so well in a club's culture and history. I look at it, I think, just like he did with Newcastle, yeah, it wasn't a great success. Like, to a degree, but at least he done something with them. I think Benitez suits Everton better than Carlo Ancelotti ever did. I think he'll actually do particularly well. He won't win anything, thankfully, because his time of winning trophies is done. But I think in terms of just getting Everton in a more stable position where they will be back where they are in terms of like challenging for like the top 6, top 7 again, they could certainly be that if they back him. And I think so far, based on the signings they've made and the start they've had, it looks like it's working to a degree. But mind you, it's only 3 games. We'll see what happens. But
yeah, we fought it last
interested
season as well. We fought it last season, if you remember, because Everton was top of the league. They had Rodriguez, and you thought, oh my God, this is a brand new Everton. Are they going to win the league?
Yeah.
Like, that's what people were thinking.
Exactly.
And it just went pear-shaped, didn't it, later on? So
it's just Brentford and...
yeah.
Exactly. The ones I'm more, the clubs I'm more interested in actually seeing, bar United, in terms of like where they go, it's Southampton, because it's a club I admire, and I really like Ralph Hasenhüttl. Honestly, he deserves a top 6 job. I look at where Wolves are going to go under Bruno Lage. They've been so resolute defending, and they absolutely bossed Man United at the weekend. I look at Brentford, who I think are an absolutely exciting squad. I think Brentford are going to get at least 10th or 11th. I actually have that much faith in Brentford that they're going to be that to that degree. I already know where Watford and Norwich are going to end up, so there's no point in commenting. But hopefully, Burnley join you in the relegation zone.
Oh, so you'll be relegated as well, won't you?
So you'll be relegated.
Yeah, I'm totally going to get relegated.
What I was going to say with Brentford, you can have that mentality to stay in for the first season, but I feel like, especially for a newly promoted team like Brentford, it's harder for the second season than the first season, because you're in that much pressure to do well and actually stay in the competition. So if Brentford does stay in, you need to see have they got that mentality to maintain in the Premier League. And that will show if they actually are a decent squad. Because, like you say, with Leeds, they had an amazing season last season, but these 3 games have not shown that yet. And you don't know, it probably will improve, it might not, it may so. You just don't know yet, because we're only 3 games in. But if Leeds keep that up, they're just going to be as part of the other people, like Sheffield United, who done well for 1 season and then got relegated.
That's a very good point. I honestly agree with that. That's a very good point. You do need to show. This is why there's some clubs in terms of who actually come up. I think Brentford, I don't know what Tony will think in my opinion, but I look at Brentford's style of play and how they're going to. I think they could end up like Bournemouth, where they'll actually get into the league, they'll actually cement themselves, and they will give the bigger teams a real good game, and they will actually cement themselves in the league around about that, not the mid-table, but like 12 to 16 position roughly. I think they'll be in there next season onwards, because I honestly think they're going to stay up. But when I look at Brentford in terms of just enjoying them to play, I think they'll be like the initial years of Bournemouth when Bournemouth were in the Premier League. Yeah. That's what I like Brentford. That's what I like in Brentford to be honest.
You see, that's where with like Bournemouth, that's where they went wrong. Was what I was talking about before. Was the mentality of the club? Yeah. They just kept sort of hoping that Eddie Howe was going to continually just be able to make a couple of signings and then just keep it going. But you can't without changing your whole. Mentality.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Is like when most teams comes up, is like sometimes the first season is not always the toughest season for them, and the worst season to have. Sometimes like it's all well and good having a great first season. It's the second season. It's always the one that's going to catch them out, and always you find the teams that actually don't invest well in the transfer market in that second season are the ones that end up going down. I don't even think Sheffield United invested much in last season.
They invested Ramsdale.
They invested Ramsdale like you. The curse might just continue and get relegated. I hope so anyway. But Dan has said big up to you too, Dan. Jason, best deadline deal I felt is Griezmann back to Madrid. I'm at Barcelona, maybe get back. Yeah, I completely agree there. Big up as well to Static. 10 likes. Thank you for the 10 likes. Keep smashing the like button. Come and subscribe to me as well. And also share the stream. Let your friends, let your family watch it. you know, it's only a new channel. I'm still learning every time I am doing a stream. So I would
You're
love to
doing
hear
well.
everybody's feedback.
You're doing well.
You're
You're
doing
doing
brilliant,
brilliant.
mate.
You're doing brilliant.
Exactly, I
Thank you.
agree. Oh, and Static, this is for you. Ka-chow.
Yo, big up Static.
He loves it. He loves it.
Big up to Danny. Nice for you to come on the chat. It's always good to see you. Little Bucko, I can't lie, I wish we got Neves. I just wish we got a CDM, to be honest. Whatever CDM we got, it would have been better than what we've got currently. Griezmann to Atletico on loan with a buy with an option to buy. Jordan, Ronaldo has been confirmed this morning, and there is
He's already been pictured in a shirt.
Yeah,
he's
he's
already been
pictured in his
He's
shirt.
already been pinned sweet, mate.
He's
Saw your
pictured in his
comment.
shirt. If you want Jordan, have a look on my Twitter because I'm sure I posted it on there. Oh no, I posted
Look
it
at
on my
Romano.
Instagram actually.
Sorry, I'll save him time. Don't worry, I'll save him time. Here you go.
Little Bucko, can't wait to be at Old Trafford 11th of September. Would be perfect, Sir Alex Ferguson stood there and Ronaldo to walk out with him. It's absolutely amazing experience. Make sure you get your camera out because I want to see plenty of pictures. You better send them there.
Can we all
I'll be
just
away.
can we all just agree on one thing? I've clearly got the best lock screen ever. Wait for it.
And you've crashed. Oh
No,
yeah,
I haven't.
that is, yeah.
Perfection. My own cheeky little edit. Ninja. Do too
No,
many.
Jordan, I'm not going to. No, Danny, I am not going to spell that. So do not ask me to. Stop trying to wind me up. Big up to Sonny. Everyone panicking about us. Hashtag Chelsea. Not getting the sold deal done. We've got an extra half an hour to finalise that deal. Yep, it's a good deal. Stop rubbing it in, please. Dana, lovely to see you too, mate. Cracking show by everyone. Reese, you've still not followed me on Twitter.
Yeah, I have.
I'm sad.
I will have. I will.
Don't be nasty and follow Danny back.
I have.
Don't be nasty and follow Danny back.
I have.
Right, I've got a question here.
What is this nonsense? What is this nonsense? If I follow Sunday, I follow them. Jesus Christ.
I've got a question here. What I wanted people's opinion. Everyone in the live chat, please also say your comments, what you think too. Which teams do you think has had a great window, and which teams has had a bad window? I've got two in mind who I think has got a good and who has also done bad. I'll start with you first, Tony.
Well, obviously the teams that have done bad are the ones that ain't brought anyone really. That's quite obvious, isn't it? That they haven't really brought many players in. So, you know, you can say that's not too good. But obviously the big teams like United, of course, Ronaldo, I mean, Varane, you know. Yeah, so it's been obviously now Palace getting Edouard as well. That's a great signing. You know, yeah, it's quite a few really. Quite a few good signings really. So,
What about the bad? Who's had a bad window?
Well, as I say, really, the teams ain't bought anyone. You know, I think you know some of the teams need to strengthen, and I think they're going to be worse for it. Really, not buying players. So, you know, even Burnley's signed a player. That's a bit of a miracle, isn't it? So.
No, usually it's a Championship player or a League One player, isn't it? Who Burnley signed. Sorry, no offence, Dan.
They got a Swansea player. That's it. They got a Swansea player, didn't they? So.
Oh, they got a Swansea player. Just makes my facts correct then, doesn't it? Talk. What do you think? Who's had a good window? Who's had a bad window?
Well, the best two clubs saw the best windows is Chelsea and Man United, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The worst is Liverpool. They've only got Canate. They're skating on very, very thin ice. Aston Villa have had a really good window as well. West Ham have done pretty decent. Arsenal, you look at what Arsenal spent and what they've got to show for it. It's not the best, to be fair. You know, they're in real. Arsenal are like I think the whole club is drunk. I think it's drunk.
Fantastic.
It's got no clue what it's doing. It's stumbling all over the shop. It's just like splashing money all over the gaff, like when you're pissed out of your mind, you're just pulling money out, and you're like, yeah, go on, it's all right. You're thinking, whoa, this is what Arsenal. That's what they're doing. They're totally like they're in free fall. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen from a football club.
There's one way
as big as Arsenal. It must. I mean, for the Arsenal fans, it must. The fans who are still holding on to some kind of hope and belief. I just have to question them and think, wait a minute. Are you seriously like watching the same thing as we're watching? What's this? Really? That's the moment. Listen, if that happens, that's the moment you've got to stop supporting football and go do something else, because it's quite obvious.
I've got my old fab in the building.
That is the best comment ever.
There's out of your depth, and then there's drowning, and Mikel Arteta is drowning big time.
I think there's a good way to sum them up. There's a good way to sum up Arsenal, right? And there's only one nice way to do it. I normally paint you with memes, but I think this one sums you up really well. Wait for it. Once it appears.
You've only shown half, and I can't read the writing.
Right. It's the Simpsons quote. It basically says, "This is the worst day of my life. This is the worst day of your life so far."
Bad times loom for Arsenal. Please can Romano on this channel please also tell me some more stuff about Arsenal so we can have another nice giggle, please.
Well, what's that? 3 minutes? Is it 3 minutes left in the window? So we're done.
Yes.
Yeah. 2 minutes left actually because it's 58.
I've still got an hour left for Scotland as well.
It's 4 minutes.
Oh yes, you do.
Scotland shuts at 12.
Was it Lee Griffiths who go to Dundee, didn't he?
Lee Griffiths has went to Dundee on loan.
Stephen, also, I was going to ask you about that question if you wanted to answer that.
Yeah, I was just going to mention Serge Aurier's mutually cancelled his contract with Tottenham. So
yeah, that's the only thing that Romano's posted out recently 8 minutes ago.
Yeah. So, who's done well? Let's start with that.
It should be good.
Arsenal. They done well.
Let's see how far he goes. Let's see.
Man United have done well. Varane, Ronaldo. Gonna pretend I didn't hear that one. Varane, Sancho, Ronaldo. Obviously, the DM is a big miss.
Tom Heaton.
Tom Heaton as well. Chelsea again, great, good window with Sal and Niguez getting their DM. Also Lukaku, Aston Villa I've been impressed with as well. They've had a great window. Been very impressed with them. Worst ones, Liverpool. I don't know what they're doing. It's like they're trying to do exactly what they did last season, which ended up in a car crash. And like we just mentioned earlier, that could end up really turning against them if they want to challenge for this title. Do you know what? Man City have been very lackluster, and apart from Grealish, there's not much. There's not much else you can say about Man City, to be honest. But the ones who have spent the most, Arsenal are just, it's like you said, it's a car crash. It's just, we've not bought, like I said, we're not bought a while because he's 23, not 22. He doesn't meet the criteria of 22 or younger. Lokonga looks decent. Pavard looks decent. Tamiyasu looks decent, but it's just the only thing I want.
I've got an update from Romano here, so can I just skip that up? More Arsenal news. Phil Jones has been spotted shaking hands with the Conkies. They see him as the solution to their defensive problems. Doing a 60 million deal. Let's get this confirmed.
On the big shot for that.
You know what? Phil Jones could actually walk in Arsenal's defence right now.
I love you to type that. If you're Fabrizio, I'd love to see you type that in Italian, mate.
You could just use Google Translate if that was the case.
Or I could type it.
Yeah,
Here's-
we've got our own
Tom Holland's saying
Italian.
it.
Well, that's it. The
Yes.
window's shut. The window is done for us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
done.
Yep.
We're you know what? Like I say now, Ollie now has to start practicing that puzzle because you know what? He's got to get it right. He's got to get it right and get it right quick.
Now I've got 59 minutes of what's going to happen with
Rangers.
just Scotland in general, not like
Yeah, because
not
they're
Rangers.
up until midnight, aren't they?
We're up until midnight. We've actually had a few. There's actually been a few decent deals going out of Scotland today, like Cedric Itten, Rangers striker. He's gone to Grove for Firth on loan. Lee Griffiths gone to Dundee on loan from Celtic. Odsonne Edouard, £14 million deal to Crystal Palace. I believe that's Celtic's biggest sell on a player. I think that's their biggest sale, eclipsing the Ayer deal by 500k. I believe Christie's also left for Bournemouth. So there's some decent players have actually left Celtic, which to me is fantastic. They'll definitely not finish second now, and they'll finish third. But I look at it and I'm like, with an hour left to go, well, less than an hour to go, there'll be some decent deals up here. But just listen to an Arsenal fan talk about their transfer window and all that is fucking pure gold. But I'll tell you this, Chris. I'll tell you who's actually had the worst transfer window at any club. The worst one, PSG.
The worst.
Mm-hmm.
Go on,
The only
tell us why.
Explain.
The only reason I'm saying the worst right is look at the talent they've brought in, but look at the amount of money they're going to have to spend on wages and shit and all that shit, all that financial stuff in the background. That summer alone, fantastic for players. They should be winning the Champions League. They should be winning everything. But in terms of an economic standpoint, that is why, from a perspective, that shows why UEFA, FIFA, FFP, all that is rigged. It's crap. Because if you're willing to destroy AC Milan, who is top 5 greatest clubs of all time, but you're willing to allow the oil merchants have a summer like that, it just shows how it's great for PSG fans, but it's bad for football. That's why I'm saying it's one of the worst, because it's bad for football in terms of the sense of it lets those clubs get away with it, and it shouldn't be allowed. And it's the exact same for the Blue Moon midgets. It's the exact same from them. Like they've been able to get away with it. Who spends £100 million on Jack Grealish when he's not even worth 60? I'm sorry, but no, like it's ridiculous.
This is why for me, ESL. This is why the ESL for me will happen.
Yep, exactly.
It's going to happen. No doubt about it. No doubt
It's
about
going
it.
to come and we at least expect it in maybe in a couple of years' time, perhaps. They're
Because
not
it's
going to do it while
corrupt.
everyone's so grilled and
Because it's
everything about
corrupt.
it.
Because it's because UEFA's so corrupt, it will happen because they don't ever have any control. Right?
They don't respect the clubs.
So many clubs have tried to stick with this FFP or sustainable rule, right? And yet, like, there's just certain clubs they just let them carry on and do whatever they like. When has ever PSG been brought to court or any proceedings? It's all right, they can bring proceedings on, try and impeach on Man City, but they never ever looked at PSG whatsoever. Right? Remember how they got Mbappe? They bought him in the previous window. They agreed in the previous window, but didn't pay for it for the next window to make sure they didn't break FFP. So it's bullshit. It always has been BS, and right, and that's why UEFA, right, sooner or later they're gonna have the wool pulled the rug pulled under their carpet when we do have the Super League announced, and next time they won't stop it. It will not be stopped because these clubs will just go, yeah, it's all right, mate. You're about as corrupt as anyone, whatever. And most of these fans will be like, yeah, well, what's the point? You never looked after us anyway. Because when does UEFA ever care about the fans?
I hope you tell me the truth about this one, Bucko. You better be telling me the truth. You better be telling me the truth. I want sources. Tell me the sources.
No. It's we sign nobody. No, we sign nobody.
I didn't even read it properly, you know me. Right, so I'm gonna say who my who teams who I think had a good window and had a bad window. For me, I think good window. I think Man United has been one, just simply because we've got Ronaldo. We've addressed our centre back issues. We've also got Sancho, what's addressed our right wing issues. We've got that set piece coach as well, which has helped us massively. Even though it's not part of the deal or any like the transfer window, it's still good to mention that. I do also think Chelsea has had a good transfer window. With Chelsea, as much as you do hate to say this, Chelsea do always address their issues. Like last season, they addressed the goalkeeping issues. They brought Mendy in. Mendy's one of the best goalkeepers. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the league. And they brought Lukaku in to address the striking issues because Werner can't score.
But you know why?
They're always addressing.
Amazing. You know why they do that? Because they're not worried about the finances of that. They don't
exactly.
They don't need to worry about that. But this is why the ASL will happen. Because if you want your Man Uniteds and your Tottenhams, your Arsenals, your Liverpools to be able to compete with these clubs, as long as those ones are there, then the ESL is going to have to happen for them.
To be fair though, Talk, like unlike PSG, like Chelsea are much more sustainable as a club than PSG are. Like Chelsea actually sell their young high and buy high. They actually their model is actually self-sustaining.
That's good, but this is what I'm saying. They don't have to worry about the finances. They don't have to worry about the finances. But the thing is it's all right
put themselves in that position though.
Hold on, they've had the peg up. Chelsea have had the peg up from Roman Abramovich, so it does go back to Roman Abramovich's money. It's not like his money's just to magically appear out of nowhere. You don't turn money. There's no money trees in Chelsea's training ground. It's all started from Roman Abramovich. So at the end of the day, he's played his part in it, and this is why, like I say, the ESL will happen for everyone else to keep track of them and keep going with them. Whether Chelsea are interested or not, but they'll have to be interested in it when everybody else says, no, we're doing it, see you in a bit. They're not just going to stay there on their own.
Dan has said that Steve's getting triggered by Fate Romano, and if you're still here, can you give me one more transfer, what has happened? I'd love to know, to be honest.
Arsenal have signed Sol Campbell as the new director of football, confirmed 4-year contract, here we go.
You're better than Eddie, mate.
For me, who I think has had a bad window, I think Liverpool has had a terrible window. They have only made one signing, which is a centre-back. Yeah, they need to address the centre-back because obviously they was lacking in that area so much to the point they was getting Jordan Henderson as a centre-back. It's just, at the end of the day, their squad, they're just so small. Like, if, for example, you had several injuries in that whole squad, they'd have to rely on elsewhere. They'd have to put people in a different position just so they can put a starting 11 up. They haven't got no depth whatsoever. And City as well has had a bad transfer window. They made 2 signings. One was, I think it was an undisclosed amount, and then the other one was Jack Grealish for 100 million. But Jack Grealish, knowing that he isn't exactly needed at Man City because they've got honestly world-class players as it is, but they had to decide, let's not address my striking issues, and they've got clearly enough money, Man City, but they don't want to address the striking issues. Why not go for Haaland if Harry Kane does not want to go? Why not?
It's to protect their hypocrite saviour of a manager.
Just to confirm, I am the real Romano. I can speak fluent. You know what? If you want, come on the stream. I'd love to hear you speak that fluent Italian. I want to learn how to speak Italian. You see, so it'd be really good. And I'd like to call Reese a bit of a fraud for the Italian. So come on, Fab.
You really want to even know I am quarter of Italian? Like that is like legit a fact. You absolute nightmare. What is it with you? Like, what have I ever done? What is this?
You've been nasty to me from the beginning.
No, sorry, I don't know who you are. Who are you?
Who are you?
I'm the only one that made you famous.
You made me famous. You never made me famous.
All right, let's bring it back to transfers.
You didn't make me famous. It was Rich. It wasn't you. You were just there. You were just there.
We made you famous.
You were just there. You were just there. Right, so I'll just wrap up everybody anyway. I know it's getting a bit late and starting work early in the morning. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for such a great panel tonight. Thank you for everybody, especially Romano, who has come into the comments tonight. Please like, subscribe, and also share the video. It means so much having all this support. I'll be doing 2 streams this weekend. So I'll be doing a match reaction for Man United women versus Reading women. And I will be also doing a stream on Sunday, which is a Champions League preview. And I've got really good guests for that, just including this one down there, Reese. He'll be on there. So,
What?
You've already agreed.
I had agreed, but is that literally how I'm going to get addressed? Are you honestly like what the excuse the language, because I know certain people watching.
PG.
What the living fudge is this? What is this?
I've got a comment here from Fab, so we'll just sort this out soon. I also have to tell you that I'm retiring after this window. No more transfer news from me ever. See you soon, confirmed. It was lovely knowing you, and you know
January's
what? January's
only a couple of months.
Yeah, it's January. Come back to me in January. Come back anytime. I'd love to hear from you again,
mate.
Fab.
The actual YouTube account, mate, it's got a picture of him. Very funny, that one.
So Sunday is going to be a Champions League preview, and I've actually got a Chelsea fan on as well, because I thought, why not bring a Chelsea fan on? They've won the Champions League, so it's also good to hear from their point of view about the Champions League. So we'll shout out everyone's socials, and then we'll just call it a night. Tony, where can we find you?
On Twitter, anything Tony1. Twitter, anything Tony1. Yep.
And Stephen, where can we find you?
SVT TV, talking about football, Arsenal and F1 content, whilst raising awareness for Children's Liver Disease Foundation, have a membership scheme as well, and but make sure you subscribe and like the stream here, and subscribe to Devils United. So thanks for having me on.
And Reese, where can we find you?
You can find me at not supporting Burnley because I fucking hate them. You can find me on Twitter below R7UN1T3D. You can find me on Weekly Armchair Sports Talk, where we actually just done our deadline day stream this evening. I was one of the 3 hosts on the podcast tonight. I was the middle host. I got to speak to like Phil Brown, which was an absolute pleasure. You can also find me on Rich's channel now and again, My United Agenda, Twitch as well. I'm contemplating getting rid of it. But Reese _Light 1997. We'll see what happens. But cheers for having me on, and for the love of Christ, I do not support Burnley. I have sense.
He doesn't support Burnley.
I mean,
he supports a decent team. He supports the best team in the world. You know.
Put it this way, I have standards, not detriment.
You do have standards. I'll give you that one. Talk. Where can we find you?
Oh yeah, usual places. Twitter @italkmu. Stephen's channel, Man United Agenda. Rich's channel. This channel. Football United TV. Yeah, just here, there, and everywhere. Make sure you show your support for Maisie on this channel as well. You know, give it a like and a subscribe. And thanks for having us on, mate.
Oh, thank you for coming on. Yes, so everyone, you'll all see me again on Saturday. It will be at 8:30, and then Sunday stream, it will be at an earlier time of 7 o'clock. But until Saturday, I'll see you all soon. Bye.
Ciao.
Ka-chow.